I think factory farming is especially egregious on a universal level, meaning holistically, everything involved. We search in outer space for extraterrestrials or some kind of other life, but yet right here on Earth we don't respect the life that we have. And what happens if we get to another planet and there is life there? Are we going to eat them? Are we going to treat them like we treat the factory farmed animals? Are we going to put them in cages and milk their children, steal their children, murder them for all time? It's egregious what we're doing to the animals right here and right now. And on a universal level, the universe has no use for people who are mean and do unto others that they don't want done unto you. And so those people just end up in the cold ground and they don't move on. Whereas people who are vegan, they live on and they exercise compassion for others and mercy. I equate it to as if aliens landed on our planet and they were stronger than us, had more technology, and they wanted to eat us and put us in cages and our mothers and our children, milking them and then grinding them up when they're no more use and feeding them to their babies. We wouldn't like that. And so, might does not make right. And here we are in charge. We're the ones that landed on Earth. We're the aliens. We're the ones doing these things to the animals. And what could be more egregious to humanity than being the ones who are supposed to protect and make sure nothing happens to animals, and we're the ones causing all the problems. And when you look at factory farming and how they rape cows mechanically to get them pregnant, that's child rape. The cow is just a child, and then if she has a boy, the boy is stolen from her so we can have her milk, and then ends up in a veal crate, 13, 17 weeks, can't move. Corpse munchers want their flesh soft, and so there's a high price for soft veal. They don't let them move or exercise, and they stay in a veal crate, and then they're murdered. If Mrs. Cow gives birth to a girl, she ends up like mom, tortured, pumped full of hormones and steroids and antibiotics, and then enormous amounts of milk gotten out of her tumors, mechanically raped every year, babies stolen from her, tortured and milked, the blood and the pus coming out of her udders, all of it. It's just no way to live. And then when she's no more use, they grind her up and feed her to school children. Meat that is so bad that people, won't touch it in other countries. South Korea won't touch our meat. They're afraid of mad cow and all kinds of diseases. And so the government buys the surplus from the factory farms, and then they distribute it to people who have no power or choice in the world. And that's children in schools, the elderly in nursing homes, and prisoners. Anyone with money wouldn't buy the food that they're feeding these children. It's because they're from the dairy cows and the factory farms. They're all diseased, tortured, abused animals that have led horrible lives. Why would you want to feed them to children? Any kind of meat is egregious, feeding it to children, but let alone the worst of the worst. These people don't care running the factory farms. They're just out for a buck. And it's a no-lose business, because factory farming is a losing business when you just look at the money side of it. The only reason it survives is because the government subsidizes it so heavily. And so if anyone wants to make an investment and get rich, you invest in pork bellies and futures and all these garbage industries that are destined to die, but somehow have it because they're living great lives getting subsidies from the government. And so they get paid to abuse the animals, and then the government even buys the food that they get from them. Thomas Jefferson in 1778, he said that if people let the government decide what foods and medicines they take, their souls will be soon living in a starry state of tyranny. And really, when you think about it, that's pretty prophetic, 200 years prior, to see this going on. But the government is deciding what foods and medicines we take, and people trust the government just like people trust schools, and they're all misinformed, and it's old information. There's new science out. It's been out for 20, 30 years. At this point, it's ridiculous to continue on and not change. And there's just some people in control that have all the money and power. They're the ones that are, resisting this information from getting out. The encouraging thing is it's the information age, and so people are finding out with the help of the internet, and people are talking, and they are getting upset, and there is a revolution going on. I've seen the change just from moving from Wisconsin to California. There's so many vegans out here. This is the hotbed of animal rights right now, California. How about a shot like this?
Yeah.
This is my baby. She's 9 years old, vegan for 4 years. She thinks she's a puppy.